Act only in the name of the truth and liberate yourselves from your belief assumptions, in gods and tin gods, in servants of gods and servants of tin gods, and from belief assumptions, in those who raise themselves up amongst people of your kind, human beings, as gods or as their envoys or appointees. Substitutes. Act, live, out of yourselves in equitableness, fairness, righteousness, conscientiousness, as fair ones, responsible ones, so that you can look at your own good deeds which you learn through the real truth and through the teaching of the prophets, who make you into ones who are knowing of the truth and shall reveal to you the path upon which you escape from all untruth and from the false teachings of the false prophets who lie that they are bringing you the truth, but are however lying to you and spreading delusional teachings, fallacious teachings. Follow only the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life, because it is only from it that you learn everything that is concealed and revealed, clarified, of the laws and recommendations of the fertilization of life creation, and of its appearance nature, as the true prophets teach you, and as they do themselves. And truly, if you postpone your going on the path and assume believe that you can also take it later, then this is a poor decision, because the more time passes until you take the path, the more difficult it will be for you, because you punish yourselves thereby in your inner nature by becoming ever more negligent and becoming more and more removed from the path of the truth, as a result of which in the end you can no longer find any pity for yourselves and yourselves. And it does not help you if you are unknowing of the truth and are falsifiers, hypocrites, and you build temples, houses of gods and houses of tin gods, for the spreading of the truth, whilst however practicing rites of gods, God cult, and rites of tin gods, tin god cult, therein against the truth, which are against the real truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power creation, and attempt to harm these, in order to promote a knowledge of the truth and to bring partedness amongst the rows of the ones who are knowing of the truth, as well as to create an ambuscade for those who are searching for the truth. And truly, even if you swear that you are only doing good deeds by building such temples, houses of gods and houses of tin gods, then the truth bears witness against it, contrary witness, and reveals that you are only liars, because in your temples, houses of gods and houses of tin gods, and in other houses that you build for your gods and tin gods, you do not teach the teaching of the truthful laws and recommendations of the fertilization of life creation, but rather your false teachings of your false prophets and fabulated, invented gods and tin gods. And you upright ones and ones who are loyal to the truth, you ones who are knowing of the truth amongst people of your kind, human beings, it is said to you that you shall never stand in such temples, houses of gods and houses of tin gods, and that you shall not pray in them, because they are founded upon godliness's religions, and upon subgodliness's sex cults, and only serve to lead people of your kind, human beings, into great misunderstanding and into the clutches of the servants of gods and servants of tin gods and their fabulated, invented gods and tin gods, so that you become servile, dependent on them, and that you may be exploited in your goods and riches. And truly it is only of dignity to uphold your knowledge of the teaching of truth outside such places, rather than standing or sitting in such places and being lied to by the priests and worshippers of gods and worshippers of tin gods. Man, woman and child, be of dignity in your knowledge of the teaching of truth, as it is given through the true prophets who have worked it out from the truthful laws and recommendations of the appearance nature of the fertilization of life creation. Do not think that those who have fallen prey to belief assumptions in the fear of gods and tin gods are better than the ones who are knowing of the truth, because truly, godly religious belief is never founded on delight in the truth. Rather, the godly religious belief is like a house built on the edge of a rolling, undermined sandbank, and which can never have the firmness, safety of a house built on rock with its foundation walls anchored in the rock. And truly, the house, the truth which is built on rock firmness, and is anchored within the foundations of the rock, does not contain any doubt within itself and cannot be torn into pieces. Those who build their house, their belief assumptions, on undermined sand. They are fighting against the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power creation, and therefore they are not the same as the ones who are knowing of the truth, the fair ones, responsible ones, and righteous ones, conscientious ones. Rather, they are unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and non-righteous ones, conscienceless ones, who demand outrage, torture, punishment, and death for people of their kind whenever mistakes are committed. So they also do not hesitate to wage battles, wars, and to accurse people of your kind, human beings, if they have more goods and are richer, if they were of a different skin color, of a different attitude, mentality, and a different godliness, religion, belief. They do not follow the recommendation of the teaching of truth, that the promise of people of your kind, human beings, is the regulation duty of love for the next one, and that all people shall also for themselves fulfill the promise of love in themselves to the best extent. And only a few fulfill the promise of the regulation duty, and create true love in yourselves. When you turn away from lovelessness towards yourselves and towards people of your kind, fellow human beings, in remorse, and when you no longer pray to gods and tin gods, and you no longer bow down and cast yourselves down before them and before the servants of gods and servants of tin gods, but when you change yourselves to the real truth and demand direct right within yourselves and forbid what is non-right, so that you heed the dividing lines, boundaries, that are given by the laws and recommendations of the primal power creation. And if you heed the joyful message of the teaching of truth through the true prophets, only then are you on a path to equitableness, fairness, and righteousness, conscientiousness, in order to become fair ones, responsible ones. Truly, it is not appropriate either for you nor for the true prophets to supplicate, request forgiveness, or to grant forgiveness in any way up to believers in gods and tin gods, servants of gods and servants of tin gods, and even for the nearest family members, because the believers in gods and tin gods or demons only can do this for themselves if they turn away from their erring of belief assumptions, and clearly proclaim to themselves that they will henceforth only be connected to the real truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power creation. Therefore, no father and no mother can supplicate forgiveness for their children because of their belief assumptions in gods or tin gods, just as the children cannot do this either for their parents, and the man cannot do it for a woman or a woman for a man, because all people of your kind, human being, must liberate themselves from their belief assumptions in gods or tin gods through their own sagacity, intellect, and through their own insight, rationality, in order to be able to forgive themselves. Truly, it is not in the sense of the truth and of the laws and recommendations of the fertilization of life creation to allow people of your kind, human beings, to go into confusion. Rather, the sense is given that you are guided, led by them. But consider, all amongst you must yourselves take efforts to search for, recognize, see, and follow the creational laws and recommendations in the appearance nature of the fertilization of life creation, through the teaching of the true prophets. Be certain, knowing that you must steer, guide yourselves by yourselves, because you are your own guardians, as well as being the guardians of people of your kind, next ones, so that it may go well with all of you.